What's up, my brothers from another mother? Got a video I need to do today around some very angry. There's some women that are very cross with me, if I'm being honest. I'm wearing my England jersey just for the birds across the pond. It was Mother's Day just over there. I believe it's around March 31st in England. And there's a bunch of hit pieces that came out in British media. I think there was one on BBC. I got one, well, I got a few others here that I'll show you in a minute. But it's a lot of outrage. And this is starting to become par for the course in today's world. Outrage, screeching, pointing and sputter. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get into the article, which is basically talking about single mothers, the origin of the sound bites, the snippet talks that she quoted in the article, her story, the lazy writing in it, some arguments I have in it, and some reader comments as well, and when I would be for dating a single mother. So let's hop straight into it. There's several. I only pulled up two over here real quick. This title that I'm going to go through, this one's called Single Dad Confesses Awful Reasons Why He Refuses to Date Single Moms. And the author's name is Emma Brazel. And if I'm not mistaken, let me just refresh this. It's had like 11,000 shares. Let's have a look over here. So this is Emma, and she is a University of Kent graduate who went on to gain a gold standard NCTJ diploma from News Associates. So this is her version of news. Okay, so let's hop straight into it. Now I'll slide this over here. Opens with saying, being a father himself, you might expect me to show some respect for single moms out there, but you'd be sorely mistaken. She calls me a YouTuber that hit headlines with a controversial video. Now, that's interesting because this video is actually like 2 years old. I think it's almost 3 years old if I'm not mistaken. On the top right of your screen, I'll put the full 50-minute talk. I was at a conference. I gave a full talk, basically talking to men about how to manage their energy better, dating, taking responsibility for their lives, getting over anxiety, a bunch of things. And there was probably about a 3-minute segment in that 50-minute talk where I covered the importance of understanding the risks associated, or she put hazards of dating single mothers. So this is her article. It's fairly lazy with the writing, as I mentioned, because all she's doing is really taking quotes. Richard is brutally offensive. Reasons include the idea that mothers have questionable judgment skills, their bodies are ruined, and their child will eat your money and destroy your dreams. Again, 3 very small sound bites. We'll talk about those points in a minute. I don't think I included the how it affects her body, but it should be noted, and I think everybody will agree with me here. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There is a comment section below in my videos, of course, and they're always open. Let me see. 25-year-old woman that hasn't had kids versus a 40-year-old woman that's had several kids, sometimes from many men, and sometimes many divorces as well. Who is going to be optically, physically more attractive to men, right? I think it's going to be the one that hasn't had kids. Not to say that women that have had kids can't look great. I've seen a lot of women really do the work. It does take a lot of work, but on a balance of probabilities, having kids does a number on women's bodies, right? It's just the reality of the world, right? They eat money and destroy your dreams. I don't think I said that in my talk. In fact, I think she's bullshitting you guys there with that one. It might have come from a slide that somebody had sent me, if I'm not mistaken. But kids do eat up a lot of financial resources, and they do come first. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's scroll down over here. So speaking of the event last year, is talk open with, I didn't open my talk with this lady. Again, that's a 3-minute clip that you stole and inserted into your articles. All of these articles, by the way, that were put out, just use that 3-minute clip. None of them use the full 50-minute clip that broke down everything that I thought men needed to follow to become better men, more masculine, better versions of themselves, if you will. But again, my talk opens with a slide that shows an image of a woman and a baby, and it read, single mother. Oh, so that's what it came from here. I think there's an image over here, and you can find that online. Somebody sent that to me, so I made reference to that in my opening. And all I said is, I'm not going to read it because I thought it was disparaging, but take notice of it. These things get out there. Just like stand-up comedy is funny, stand-up comedy makes fun of certain things because there's truth behind it. And that was my argument behind that meme that somebody sent me. So you can take a look at that. He went on to outline reasons why men never date women with a child, starting up with how easy it was for them to end a relationship. Right, so that's one of the points that I made in the talk. Women that have been divorced, okay, and have kids, The divorce rate is, I believe, 70 to 80% for second and third marriages. I think it's 70 for second and even higher for third marriages. So if the divorce rate's 50% first time round, second time round it's higher, third time round it's higher, with women initiating about 80% of divorces, just do the math. I mean, women are leaving men when it comes to marriages. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but at the end of the day, it is easy for them to end a relationship. So I'm just calling it what it is. When she goes, they go too, he told the crowd. You'll never see them again, and even though they might have driven you nuts and have double, triple the heartbreak, that's one of the points that I make, it's very easy for them to end the relationship because they've done it before. It's easy for them to move along and just slide into the next relationship. I don't see what the problem is. I think that anybody that's watched my videos understands the notion of monkey branching and how quickly women will optimize their hypergamous nature to move from one male to another male. That's the female sexual strategy. Just like the male sexual strategy is we want unlimited access to unlimited women. Women want to be hypergamous. That's their strategy. More specifically, open hypergamy. These really aren't argued points. They're just factual. You might say it's disparaging on men. Women might say it's disparaging on women. All I'm doing is I'm holding up a mirror and some truths are reflecting back to you that you do not like. He also claimed that single moms have questionable judgment skills and said that boyfriend will never be a priority, stating, save yourself for somebody else that has the capacity and the time. What's the problem with that? Why do men need to raise other men's children and take care of other women with other men's children? Right? I mean, is that so wrong that we should be taking accountability for our own lives and the choices that we made, sort of thing? Like, is it really that bad that I'm telling guys to raise their own kids instead of another guy's kids? I mean, I could see it if maybe he wasn't able to have kids and they didn't have the resources to do in vitro, or maybe she didn't have the capacity to have more kids, or whatever the argument might be. But maybe he can't have kids and he wants to be around children because he likes them. Then maybe that might be an environment where he should raise other men's kids. And I'll be honest, like I'll tell a guy that if that's what he really wants. But at the end of the day, if that's a scenario, why would you invest your time, money, and resources and efforts when you could save yourself for somebody else that has the capacity and time? This is what women have been telling each other for a long time. Stop dating single dads, right? So when you flip the table and you kind of talk about it from the male perspective, they get mad. Next, he stated that too much time is eaten up by the children. Alleged that single moms think the world revolves around her kids, adding that her kids will work against you. Correct. So that's another one of the points. Actually, I can go right here to this slide down here. They saved me the trouble by putting it all in one spot, which is quite nice of this other hit piece. But yeah, let's go through the points. So double, triple heartbreak, questionable judgment skills. I think we covered that. You'll never be a priority, which is one of the other things she's talking about. You just won't. I mean, you're going to come in behind her, the kids, her job, the complaining she has about the people at her job, the tree in the backyard that needs to get removed that's falling on the house and the roof shingles are getting destroyed, sort of thing. You're going to come in behind that. And that's just the reality of it. I know that, this came out around Mother's Day and it was designed to like solicit a lot of emotion and attention from women. And I get it, because Mother's Day, they're always like, all the single mothers out there, what do they say? Doing the job of both parents. You can't do the job of both parents. You can do the mommy job. You can't do the daddy job. It's just not a reality. Just like a man can't do the mother component. It's just not possible. We don't have the capacity. I'm just a realist in that sense. Hi, welcome to Bomber Command. This is where I drop my cold, hard truth bombs. One interesting thing that I should mention, because I did live in England for a period of time and I was born there as well. I did move back in my early 20s. I noticed the incredible amount of single mothers pushing around prams in strollers, for those of you in North America, but pushing around their prams with kids, sometimes from multiple fathers. I mean, you could see it was obvious that they came from different fathers, but the amount of them there is just unrealistic. So of course, when I'm telling men to become the best versions of themselves and chase excellence and not these women, it's going to make these women angry because I'm saying, put your priority elsewhere. Furthermore, let's go, eating up time. Furthermore, the YouTuber who also doesn't date feminist women looking to be rescued and women with daddy issues claims they are emotionally unavailable and rarely take ownership for mistakes in their lives. He also believes that they have a distorted self-image that allows them to inflate their ego. Correct. So they do have a distorted self-image. Ever been on a dating site and seen what they look like on the ad? Kind of like the ad, like if you see an ad for something, an advertisement, you buy it and then they ship it in the mail and it comes and you're like, that's not what I ordered. That's pretty much the experience of what every men have online dating, right? They schedule something in, they get it together and they meet, and who they're meeting is not it's not lining up to who the representative was on the dating site. There's no correlation. There's older pictures that are used. I think generally speaking online, so I can point to some cold hard facts about men as well, because women seem to get pissed off if I spend too much time on one component. Men tend to lie about their height and their social status. That's what men lie about online. But what women tend to lie about is their looks. And they do it by using old pictures, highly touched up or filtered pictures, and taken from specific angles that are more flattering, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so quite often they'll hold themselves out publicly to be a 10, but you meet them and they're like a 6. So you just have to understand that that's the reality of it. And it's fairly common when it comes to that demographic. What else do I talk about? Yes, don't date women with daddy issues. So she mentions a tweet down here. Here it is. We'll get to that in a second. Don't date women with daddy, emotional. Okay, so let's go down to this one over here. All you have to do is go on any dating app. Right, I talked about that. Just covered it. When news of Richard's talk got out, social media was full of people who were disgusted with his nasty accusations. Okay, let's see what my nasty accusations are. 5 types of women that men should avoid dating. This is a tweet that I put out on March 26. Number 1, feminists. Number 2, women with daddy issues. Number 3, single mothers. Number 4, women looking to be rescued. And number 5, women that are broke and deeply in debt. And not surprisingly, a lot of single mommies out there encompass all 5 of these. Now, I'm not going to deviate from that. That's been my experience. I've coached a lot of men. For those of you that don't know who I am, I have a coaching business. I have a lot of men that I coach that I help them basically unfuck their lives. If I were to describe what I do, I would use 2 words: broken men. I fix broken men. Guys that have made some incredibly bad choices that didn't get results, that are looking to level up in life and not make the same bad choices again. That's what I do. So ladies out there, believe it or not, I actually make men better versions of themselves. I make more masculine men. So you should be thanking me instead of getting angry at me for pointing to some facts that men should be attentive to. Why should men waste their time and resources in areas that don't have a good ROI for them? I get that men are considered disposable in society. Women are the protected sex. Men are the disposable sex. That's the reality of things. But the truth of the matter is, if you want to be successful in the world today as a man, you need to know, you need to learn to put yourself first. You need to make yourself your own mental point of origin as you navigate through this life. If you want to have a lot of fulfillment and contentment, I think it's incredibly important. So we get some tweets here, some feedback from the angry single mothers across the pond. Here's another one. Now, she dug deep in my tweets for some reason. This one was March 26th. This one was in February. And I said, single moms on dating sites are so solipsistic, they almost always have some version of this soundbite. My kids come first, but somewhere else in that ad, it'll say something like, you have to put me first. So, am I wrong? Guys, am I wrong? Comment below. This is a video with comments. You can comment below. Am I wrong? That is the experience that men have in general. On a balance of probabilities, this is the experience that men will have, right? However, this talk isn't the only time Richard's opinions have reached the public. His Twitter page, he regularly posts comments about his thoughts on women, including toxic feminism. I love women, by the way, but yeah, I do hate toxic feminism. And you can do that. Toxic feminism is getting to the point where it's creating this outrage culture where indignation is being manufactured on a regular basis over nothing. Mountains out of molehills. You want to get better results out of life, people? Make better choices. And don't blame other people for the choices that you've made. I talk to men and women about taking accountability in their life and ownership for the stuff that they do. So his assertion is that men shouldn't take male birth control pill because it would make them more feminine. His belief that women don't care. Oh, this one was good. So yes, there is a male birth control pill that is coming out, and I'm not really sure what this has to do with single mothers precisely, but this is dumb. This suppresses men's testosterone levels, and that's how it works. You're going to be ineffective as a man navigating the world taking this. You want to take this, you're going to become weak. I promise you. Avoid that at all costs. And then she recites another tweet. Women don't care about the struggles men go through. They hang out at the finish line and they bang the winners. Really? Am I wrong? Women do not care about the struggles. If you don't believe me, try it out. A lot of men have experienced this that have been through divorces. They make some bad choices in life, maybe a bad business decision, things flop, they get fired, they keep quitting their job because of bad experiences at work. Maybe they're not that masculine. I don't know. But if a man is not carrying through with the burden of performance that is expected of a man, a woman will leave him. That is what Briffault's law states. Men are only useful so long as they provide use. So the moment that she deems you not useful and absolutely pointless to being in her life, she will monkey branch to another man. And that is precisely the point that I'm making here, is that women just don't care about your struggles. They don't want to hear about them, but they want you to listen to theirs. They want you to understand their struggles. They want you to hear indignation as it's manufactured and, be kind and caring and all that sort of stuff. But they don't care that you go through struggles. There's men that I've coached that have made some bad choices in life, and I'm not going to lie, some dumb choices in some cases, and they don't get good results. And they find that, unsurprisingly, the apple of their eye that they may have even been married to, where they commit, in richer or poorer, in sickness and health, and blah, 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 till death do us part. But that doesn't matter if he goes broke, if he's incompetent, if he's not able to demonstrate the masculine burden of performance to his wife or to his woman, and she bounces on him. So, am I wrong, fellas? Tell me. Comment below. That's what we're doing here. Anyway, let's keep going. Another video she references, 5 things women don't want to know. I'll put a card up for this video too. And that's it. Let's go into the comments here. All right, so we've got a lot of the comments here now, and you're going to find it's a lot of point and sputter. And they're going to say things, you're bald, you're ugly, take a look in the mirror. This one here, Lana says, filthy, disgusting men like this are why we have so many single moms. Now, did I not point out in my slide that they don't take ownership? Where is it? Just judgment skills, rarely takes ownership. She is making my point. Can you believe this? Already in the comments, she's making my point. Lana says, filthy, disgusting men like this are why we have so many single mothers. So there are, as far as I know currently, something like 30 plus forms of birth control for women. And I think there's 2, maybe 3 for men, something like that. Anyway, there's considerably more for women. So why is it that it's always the guy's fault that you got knocked up, right? I mean, you're the gatekeeper to pregnancy, right? You have the lady parts. You're the gatekeeper to pregnancy. It's why they have family planning. It's why they have so many different forms of birth control. All those things exist, but apparently it's all men's fault that there are so many single moms because of filthy, disgusting men like me. This lady over here admits, my kids will always come before a man. If a man can't accept that fact, best keep moving on. So when you sign up, fellas, like this is a single mom, when you sign up to date a single mom, she's telling you straight up, this is what you're signing up for over here. This is her and her kids, and they're going to come first, and you're going to take a back seat. So she's got 3 kids. So it's going to be her job, the 3 kids, and then probably the cat, and then you're going to come in 7th place. So that's the reality of it. So am I wrong? Is it a good return of investment for a guy, especially if he doesn't have kids? And I'm going to talk about when I would be for dating a single mom in a moment. This lady over here says he has a point. So she's agreeing with me. By the way, I had lots of emails and direct messages from women. They don't normally do it publicly, but I had lots of support. It was actually quite surprising. And they all agreed with what I was saying. I'm glad you're saying what you're saying. I'm tired of toxic feminism. I want to see a return of masculinity. I completely agree with what you're pointing to. We need to fix this, right? And it's not my job to fix it. All I'm doing is I'm saying, hey guys, you can make better choices by understanding these things. But there are women that do agree with what I'm saying, believe it or not. There's one of them. This one here says, if you sincerely care and love children, they will love you back. The child doesn't have to be yours. The child will grow and remember the things you did and always and love and always have a way of coming back. It's okay for them to date, blah, blah, blah. So like this woman saying that you love another man's kids and they will love you back. And that's not true. The experiences that I've had, and those are the many guys that I've consulted with, I've got to be honest with you. I think men already know inherently the ROI is higher when they're their own biological children versus another man's kids. So they'll find themselves in 2nd place, behind his wife, behind the kids, often something like that. It's not often that a couple will put each other first, at the top, and then put the kids second and kind of let the relationship work that way. But in scenarios when it comes to single mothers, the kids are always going to end up being first. But even though you put the effort into it, you have 100% of the responsibility. One of the arguments that I made in my slide in that talk was biological kid, some other guy's kid. Biological kid, 100% parenting responsibilities. You still have to provide, provision, protect. Same thing over here. Provide, provision, protect. You go out for dinner, who's paying? the shit hits the fan, guess who's going to take care of things? When things break around the house or a moving part isn't working properly around her place, guess who has to take care of it? So provide, provision, protect is exactly the same, whether it's your own biological children or somebody else's. The difference is the ROI is very close to 100% when it's your own kids. When it's somebody else's, it's zero. You have the full responsibility in both scenarios, but you at least have parental reward here with your own biology. This one over here, nothing. It's not uncommon. Guys have heard this phrase that have dated single mothers. You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do. I knew a guy once that was dating and living with a single mom that I think he called the kid rotten because he was kicking him in the shin and running up to his room crying and making a mountain out of a molehill because he was trying to discipline the kid. And what ended up happening was the mother sided with the kid's bad behavior over what was right and what should have gone right in the relationship. But those are the things that can and do happen. Again, I'm not saying this happens all the time, but this is not true. This has not been my experience. This has not been the experience of many men. Jennifer here starts to point and sputter again. So she's using the short form abbreviation of Richard, back in the 50s, guys like Dick Clark, his name was Richard, of course. So she goes, okay, I think Dick may be single for some time now. I find it funny that the man always thinks his side of the story is the only side of the story. I'll seriously bet that women would be a nice addition to your life, or sorry, any woman would be a nice addition to your life. Doubt you can impress any because you're an a-hole. Enjoy your hand. Well, isn't she sweet? No, thank you. This is point and sputter. This is classic point. Like, what argument do you have? It's call him names, enjoy your hand, and you can't get girls. You're probably an incel or something like that, right? Zoran over here says, forgets to look in the mirror. He looks older than my grandfather, uses impolite words, and is trying to generalize single mother. He made me laugh. Quite impressive bunch of shush. Okay, thanks, Zorana. Appreciate that. You know what's interesting? I actually have a theory here. I think my theory might actually be correct. A lot of these women are pissed off because they're not doing well on the sexual marketplace. I mean, you can just click and look and see. And I probably either look like or maybe represent based on the way that I talk about these ideas. They're uncomfortable truths, but I probably look and represent the guy that swiped left on them, that didn't respond to their message, that didn't give them the second date after she tried to impress him on the first because he didn't dig her vibe. I don't know. But this is what I talk to guys about, is taking responsibility for your life, right? I talk to guys about this all the time on my channel. And this applies to women too. Take ownership for your life. If you're not where you want to be, fix that shit, right? If you're not making enough money, make more, right? If you're not attracting the people in your life that you want, find better people, find a better circle of influence. If you get out of the shower and you look down and you can't see your feet because you got too much belly fat, get a gym membership and start eating right, for crying out loud. Take ownership for your life. But pointing and sputter, expecting somebody to resolve your bad choices, I don't think so. That doesn't just make any sense to me. Close up of the eyeball. Krista says, what a complete jackass. By the way, guys, quick tip on dating sites. You see this? Swipe left immediately. Anything that's a close-up of an eyeball or an eyebrow is always a bad sign. Somebody like that is not going to be as attractive as you think. This guy over here says he's dead right. This guy Fred says many modern-day men share this opinion. Well, there you go. This guy over here, Rob, says there isn't one single thing I disagree with that Richard says. Sorry, ladies. Men are waking up to your BS. Keep up the great work, Rich. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Anyway, I could keep opening up all these comments. I'm going to tell you, last but not least, when I would be for dating some other, because I did mention that at the start of the video. So the thing that you got to be aware of, and this was not in the 3-minute clip that they inserted in there, which I think is incredibly important to highlight, because if you have children, more specifically little girls, and you're dating a single mom that's got kids, more specifically boys, the biggest risk to a girl growing up is non-blood related males in the household. So moms that have little girls and they start dating a guy that might have sons, same sort of problem, sort of thing. So I've met countless women that have been abused on any number of level by non-blood related males. There's been a lot of sexual abuse. That's where it originates from. That's where the risk comes from, generally speaking. It's not the biological parents. It's non-biological, non-blood related males in the household. Could be stepbrothers, could be the stepfather, could be any number of things. But I've seen it firsthand where boys in a sort of blended family type of arrangement can behave in a very, risky way, without getting into details. And I think that you need to be aware of that as a parent when you have a little girl, that is an incredible risk and you need to be attentive to it and you need to filter for it. So when would I be for it? You're a dad and you got a 7-year-old daughter. You meet a woman who lives pretty much in the same school zone that's also a single parent that has a 7-year-old daughter and the kids get along well. Maybe that might be an environment that it might be worthwhile, provided she doesn't bring crazy amounts of debts and daddy issues and drama and all kinds of stuff, and she's stable, doesn't have borderline personality disorder, like all of those other things you'd want to filter for. But that might be an environment where you'd say, yeah, I think I would date the single mommy sort of thing. Our kids get along really well. She's hot. I'm attracted to her. She's attracted to me. She's got her head screwed on right. That might be it. But aside from that, I think that there's a lot more risk involved versus the reward that you get out of it. So that's really what my point is. I'm not saying it doesn't work and there aren't higher value women out there. They do exist. But as you can see from this article, the way it's written and the comments and the pointing and sputtering, there's no real response to the arguments that I'm laying out. Why? Because they're logical. And if you can't argue a logical point, what do? Well, toxic feminism teaches you to point and sputter, screech. He's telling the truth. I mean, come on, really? I mean, what is your argument? Go below, comment, let me hear it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.